All right, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the April 7th regular City Council meeting for the City of Jacksonville Beach. We'll begin with our invocation, followed by the salute to the flag, led by Mr. Horn. Please rise.
If you bow your heads. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the salvation through your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, I would ask that you would watch out for the members of this council and the city staff as they come here this evening to serve the citizens of Jacksonville Beach. Lord, I would ask that you would bring your blanket of comfort, of peace to the family of the young man who drowned this weekend in Jacksonville Beach. Lord, a peace that only you can give. Father God, I would ask for your blanket of protection over our United States military, our police officers, our firefighters, our EMS workers, and Lord, I would ask that you would watch out for our lifeguards, our ocean rescue lifeguards, the volunteer life-saving corps lifeguards, the people that day in and day out battle against one of the greatest forces that you put on this planet, the ocean. Lord, I would ask that you would give them strength to continue their jobs and peace as they go about their days. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding.
Here.
Councilmember Horn.
Here.
Councilmember Jansen.
Here.
Councilmember Sutton.
Here.
Councilmember Wagner.
Here.
Councilmember Wouters.
Here.
Mayor Hoffman.
Here. Moving on to approval of minutes, item A.
Bear with me on this microphone. I move we approve the minutes from the council briefing held on March 17, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
I move we approve the minutes from the council briefing held on March 31st, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Announcements. Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, most of us attended Legislative Action Days week before last, I guess it was at this point, and very productive meetings, I thought, anyway, with our state representatives and senators in Tallahassee. I've gone 3 times now, and it was, I thought, the best meetings, one-on-one meetings, and we even got some bonus time with a couple of them. They didn't necessarily stick to the brief allotted time that we had been given, and I think they're continuing to fight the fight. There's still some really bad bills and modified bills and all that are being suggested even as we speak. And if I would encourage citizens of Jacksonville Beach to reach out to your elected state representatives and encourage them to vote against a number of these bills that are pretty harmful to our local community and to decision making that we make here locally. Councilman Horn sort of mentioned it there in his prayer, and thank you for that. But certainly a lot of thoughts and prayers with the family of the individual who drowned yesterday here at the beach, and honestly to the JBOR and VLSC individuals who had to work on that person and witness that. That's never a easy thing to do, and sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. And I've personally witnessed that before, lifeguarding here at the beach, and it's never a easy thing to digest and move forward from and comprehend. So thoughts certainly with them. And welcome back, Mayor. Great to see you.
Thank you. Ms. Golding?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just follow up briefly on what Councilman Sutton said as far as the legislative action days. If you can, please email Rep. Keon Michael and Senator Yarborough and just ask them to thank them for supporting Jacksonville Beach, because they definitely have been doing a lot for us. They've been communicating with us a lot throughout the legislative session. They're listening to us, and they are definitely advocating for us. So definitely thank them for that, but then also ask them to make sure that they stay strong and vote against the bills that will not be good for Jacksonville Beach. Also want to mention that a few weeks ago, Beaches Watch hosted a State of Our Schools meeting with the new superintendent, Dr. Christopher Bernier, and our representative, April Carney. Was really, really interesting, a very good meeting. It was video recorded, so I would encourage anybody who would like to learn a little bit more about what's going on with the Duval school system, and particularly the schools here at the beach. You can go to beacheswatch.com and watch the video. The superintendent had a very detailed presentation, so highly encourage it. Also want to just mention that there's a couple of things coming up. Yoga at the Pavilion on April 15th at 6 p.m., which will be at the Seawalk Pavilion. This is something new that we're doing, and hope that it's something that will help bring people out to our downtown during the week. Also, we have our Easter egg hunt coming up on Saturday, April 19th, starting at 10 a.m. at Wingate Park, and that's always a lot of fun for the kids and the parents. Want to remind people that have dogs that as of April 1st, dogs are allowed on the beach before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. Otherwise, during those times between 9 and 5, they're not allowed. That's for the safety of the dogs, but for the safety of all of our visitors. So please respect those rules. And last but not least, I want to congratulate my colleagues who are Florida fans. I am an Auburn graduate, and my husband is a Florida graduate. So we did not watch the game Saturday night because we knew somebody was going to be disappointed, and unfortunately it was me. But congratulations to the Florida Gators, and I will be pulling for the Gators tonight.
I'll cross off, deliver condolences to Councilwoman Golding. I'm not going to get too cocky. We still have a tough game tonight, but go Gators. Mr. Wagner.
So, to touch back on something Councilor Golden brought up, I understand that the city has received a shipment of yoga pants designed for several members of City Council. So I think that you guys are going to have quite a treat. Thank you guys down there for offering to wear those. So we should make the event even more special. Wanted to thank the city staff and all of our support teams, police, everybody for a couple of wonderful event weekends. The 904 pop-up weekend ago was the largest one they'd ever had. It's a great opportunity to shop local. A lot of arts and crafts and neat things there. So it was really exciting to see that and great to be part of it. And then everybody who took advantage of Blues Fest, it was just an absolutely wonderful event. The weather was great, and it was really a lot of fun. So just want to thank everybody for their involvement in putting those on for our community. And then lastly, if you know somebody who is working with a nonprofit who focuses on public service, which most do, on April 23rd from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Carver Center in Jacks Beach, the Community Development Block Research Grant Program will be there. It's from 11:30 to 1:30, and there will be grant writing training, explanation of the programs, lots of great opportunities to see and evaluate how you can get involved and pick up a few developmental skills. So we really think that that's a great opportunity, and I will be there, but not wearing yoga pants.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Wouters.
Good to have you back. Thank Councilman Horn for his beautiful invocation. It was very, very powerful. I just want to alert the Fletcher family out there and all the military in our community. I know there's a lot of y'all, including our sister cities in Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach, that on April 12th at 10 o'clock at Beaches Veteran Memorial Park. We'll be honoring a former member of the Fletcher family, United States Marine Corps, the late Sergeant Randall Hansen, with a memorial tree. I hope we can come all pay our respects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wouters. Mr. Wagner, did you have another? Okay.
I just didn't get it off.
Okay, no worries. I'll just real quick, Mike, before we go to you. I crossed off all the announcements as they were made, but I wanted to add congratulations to the 50th class of the Citizen Police Academy who graduated last week on Thursday and on Wednesday. Congratulations to the first session of the 4th Citizen Information Academy. So thank you to all of the staff involved in that, both the police department, city clerk, all of our department heads and folks in our various different departments for their help with both of those programs. They are tremendously successful and impactful. And nobody did this one. Congratulations to one of our newest Jacksonville Beach residents, Ruby Matilda Meza. Turned 1 week today. This is the brand new baby girl of our former colleague Fernando and his beautiful wife Helen Meza. Please pass on your congratulations to the Mezas when you see them. And that's it for me. And we'll go to City Manager Stefopoulos.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Wanted to give you all an update regarding special events because you've probably seen some news articles about unauthorized events. More specifically, several weeks ago, we were made aware of 3 individuals who began promoting an event in our community on April 12th without authorization from the city of Jacksonville Beach. More specifically, they had submitted a permit application within the 90-day window that is considered too close to an event, and their permit application was denied. Since that time, they continued to promote the event online, at which point a cease and desist letter was sent to all 3 individuals. The 3 individuals are not from the city of Jacksonville Beach, nor the Duval County or even Northeast Florida area. They are from other portions of the state. But we sent out certified mailings to these individuals on March 27th. Through U.S. Postal Service, they certified that they were all received no later than March 31st. We wanted to make you aware that over this past weekend on both April 4th and April 5th, they were still continuing to promote the event for our community on April 12th. Therefore, based on conversations with our police chief and also in consultation with our city attorney, we are going to send them another mailing, likely tomorrow, that will let them know that we are going to start tracking all of our time and expenses associated with responding to the potential of their special event. All of this falls under the state statute 316-1891. And at the end of such, if we feel it necessary, we will take the legal action necessary to try and recuperate those costs from the individuals. So again, this was to bring you up to speed as to where we are. But at this point in time, we need to prepare for a possible event on the 12th as they continue to promote it.
Thank you, Mr. Stefopoulos, and to city staff for taking strong action. I really appreciate that. Any other announcements from council? Moving on to courtesy of the floor, we have Barbara Bayer. Come on up. Is it Bayer or Boyer? Bauer. You give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Mic on. Just hit the little red button there on the. There you go.
Oh, Barbara Bauer, 604 13th Avenue South. Good evening. Okay. I was pleased to see that the CRA is proposing planters to enhance the downtown area. And I would like to ask that the city look into starting a citywide street tree planting program for canopy and shade. And that means, lovely as they are, no palm trees because they don't really shade. White dogwood, a little messy but very pretty. Red maple is native to North Florida, but I don't know if that's a good coastal tree. The University of Florida Extension Office could help with picking out the tree. That would do well. You can also maybe check with the Arbor Foundation to see if they have any grant money available. I checked a while back and they were still funding proposals for, quote, overall canopy growth. Stating the obvious, we are a beach community, so I thought maybe the city could try to enhance the beach experience for us citizens, and I've got a few ideas, like maybe put in some rinsing stations in the end zones, as well as some bicycle shelters, these nice ones that shade and keep the bicycles safe from the rain, because right now our citizens are putting their bikes here on the dunes because that's where the shade is and that's where they're protected from the rain. Also, in the summer months, I wonder if you could look into putting porta potties into maybe some of the end zone areas. Several years ago, I called some company that did that kind of thing, and they said it was $50 a month and all the liability would be with the company for cleaning it, for vandalism, for anything. And I know St. Johns County has them right on the beach. So that's just a suggestion. And I would like the city to maybe revisit the interlocal agreement about the pier. It says here, and this is from, I think, 2002, this interlocal is. I'm not sure. The pier must be an attraction to as many diverse crowds as possible. As such, the pier operator should propose additional activities, amenities, and facilities that would attract visitors to the pier and generate profits. I doubt if the pier operator has ever been in compliance with that provision. I don't know of anything it's ever done on the pier except charge $1 for people to walk on it, which is not really an enhancement. But maybe you could form a committee to look into making the pier more of a vocal point for the city of Jacksonville. We don't have a really downtown center, but maybe you could make the pier a vocal point and we could have activities and stuff on it. After a festival, I thought maybe you could remove the banners in a more timely fashion. They sometimes stay up there for 3-4 weeks or maybe till the next festival and they put the new banners up. It's not a nice look when you're looking at a banner that the event happened a month ago. And lastly, I was wondering if you could put some of those flashing lights in the school zone signs on 9th Street between 4th and 1st Avenue. Because I know once you don't have kids, you don't really pay attention to what time you're driving. Or if you're like me, you have a car clock that's only right during daylight savings time. So I never know what time it is.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. I'm sorry the clock wasn't working, but your 3 minutes has exhausted.
I'm done.
Okay, wonderful. And it is our somewhat policy to not engage in debate from the dais to the podium, but I do want to say on behalf of the pier, because I did hear some rumblings up here from my colleagues, but the pier has never been more active this pier has never been more active than it is right now, and I cannot say enough good things about Kurt DeWitt and Beach Life Rentals that operates the pier. They have the contract with the city of Jacksonville. They do silent disco out there. There will be hundreds of people just out there dancing away on the pier. They do all sorts of fishing events. He's gotten very involved in the Sandcastle Festival, which is coming back. And I mean, I could go on and on, but I would check the pier out again. It's clean, it's tidy. They've made the bait shop into a little bit of a store. So, and you don't have to respond. I wanted to.
Well, see, I didn't know. I've never seen it advertised. Maybe that's a problem. Then.
I'm not sure where a pier would advertise, but I do want to just, for the audience and anybody listening at home, just want to say I cannot say enough good things about the pier, and hopefully that'll encourage people to go check it out, because it is having a little bit of a rebirth since it, after it was under construction forever. And soon we'll have the nice pier entryway parking lot done. We're not calling it a parking lot, probably. Taylor's not making eye contact with me right now. Okay.
I will say too, I just visited, not that we're doing comparies, but I did just visit the Pensacola area and paid $250 to just walk out on their pier. So,
You can afford it.
All right. The only other public courtesy of the floor we have Janice Smith. You want to come up, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. And I apologize. I'm going to time it on my phone because we have not fixed. I guess I haven't maybe said it publicly, but this timer's not working.
Good evening.
The little button to turn it on. There you go. There.
My name is Janice Smith. My address is 410 4th Avenue South. I'm a resident of South Jacks Beach. I stand before you today to respectfully ask your support in fulfilling a promise made to our community, a promise to update and improve Carver Center. As many of you know and are aware, Carver Center has been a cornerstone to our community for years, providing a space for recreation, relaxation, and community engagements. It is a place where children play, families gather, and neighbors come together. Unfortunately, over the years, the playground facility has aged. Some parts have become unsafe. And there is an urgent need to revitalize the playground equipment. Last year, May 2024, we were promised that improvements would be made during the next fiscal year, 2024 to 2025, beginning in October 2024. A promise that brought hope to many of our citizens who value the park. We were excited about the potential upgrades, which would not only enhance the park's appeal, but also make it a safer and accessible and more enjoyable place for all. There has been no progress, and many of us in the community are still waiting for the much-needed new playground equipment. I am here today to respectfully request that the council honor that request, that commitment. We understand that budgets and priorities are often tight, but the promise made to our community should be upheld. Our children, seniors, and families deserve a park that reflects the love and care this neighborhood has for one another. I ask you, as our elected officials, to make good on the promise to update and improve Carver Center. Please allocate the necessary resources and provide a timeline for when we can expect to see tangible progress. Our community is watching, and we are ready to see this vision come to life. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to working together to make our community center a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Wagner wanted to follow up real quick.
So Janice, thank you for your advocacy, and it's really important to have people like you stepping up and representing our community. So thank you for that. I got a recent update on what's going on there. So they just finished surveying. So the folks that are installing the playground equipment now have confirmed that the final design will fit. It's all there. In about 6 weeks is the start date on installation. And that was because of some delays in getting manufacturing parts shipped in. And it just, it's just what it is. It got delayed. And we've had that issue with every park. Sunshine Park was really delayed. Gonzalez Park is really delayed. It's not a good excuse, and I'm not saying because they weren't. It doesn't, it minimizes what's happening at Carver Center because we all want you to have that beautiful park. We cannot wait to celebrate the day that
Can we, I know I'm not supposed to talk again, but can we at least get a blueprint of what it's going to look like? Because
We'll follow up with you post meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you turn the microphone off? Sorry, we're gonna have to get used to this. Thank you.
I'll follow
We're all still getting used to the new AV system. All right. That was it for our courtesy of the floor. Moving on to consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just kidding. Well, it got approved, so at least we didn't have to debate that. Thank you, Mr. Stefopoulos. Okay, moving on to City Manager New Business. Item A, we have Ms. Mobbs.
Good evening, Taylor Mobbs, CRA Coordinator. Tonight, we are requesting approval for the Pure Parking Lot Dumpster Enclosure Mural. I believe on the next slide, there is an image of the most recent version, or it was provided to you. There we go. So on top is what was initially presented, and the art committee requested that the artist make the JAWS more vibrant and more of something that people are going to be heavily encouraged to stand in front of, take photos. The artist also updated the font. You can see in the second one, and she did that, and that is more reflective of the time period of the neon, vibrant, bright colors. That font, she said, goes better with that aesthetic. And then something that is not on this, but around the side, the artist will have her signature on the bottom, and then they'll put hashtag, visit Jack's Beach, hashtag Jack's Beach, basically whatever our communications manager decides is the most appropriate hashtag to use. So we will make sure that Jack's Beach is also on there as well, because I know that came up in meetings. So I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and get a motion.
I move we approve a mural.
Can we wait till there's a motion on the floor? Thank you. Go ahead.
I move we approve a mural by Lauren Klaus on the dumpster enclosure facade in the Pure Parking Lot.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Wouters.
Thank you. I apologize
That's
for
okay.
Procedural things. Miss Mobbs, I was just curious, the artist awarded this, are they from Jacksonville Beach?
They are not. They are from Ponte Vedra.
Was there any Jacksonville Beach artists who,
There were 3.
okay, thank you.
Ms. Golding?
I just want to make a statement. I looked at all the proposals that I was amazed at all the proposed designs that people submitted. There were a lot of really good ones, and it was obviously, I think, a hard decision to make. I'm glad to see that we have so many artists that are showing interest, and I was really impressed to see that we have so many artists that are local to this area. It seemed like all of them were either Neptune Beach, Jack's Beach, Jacksonville, or Ponte Vedra.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Maybe
we
one
had-
Atlantic Beach even.
We
but-
had 1 Atlantic, 1 Neptune, 3 Jack's Beach, 8 Jacksonville, 1 St. Johns County, 2 Ponte Vedra, and then 1 was in like Green Cove Springs and 1 was in Puerto Rico. So-
Okay. But anyway, it's really good
Yeah.
to see that we're getting so much interest in this, and I love seeing all the art that's popping up throughout the community. I want to just thank the Public Art Advisory Committee for all the work that they're doing.
Any other comments? I do encourage, especially our newer council members, if you haven't had a chance to watch one of the Public Art Committee meetings, it's really interesting to see the deliberations, especially local versus not local, and on some of the bigger projects too. I think the one that I watched was the big mural behind the Seawalk Pavilion. So we've got a really good group of art experts and other folks on our Public Art Committee. So it kind of takes the burden off of us to have to look through all of those. But it is pretty interesting to see the breadth of talent that's interested in being on display here in our community. Seeing no other questions, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
No.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item B, Ms. Bennett?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Kimberly Bennett, Director of Human Resources. To give you some context on this, the city's pay and classification study was last fully updated in 2022. However, because of the changing economy, the workforce, it's not uncommon for pay inequities and compression issues to occur. Mike, you're making me laugh. So to address these issues and to ensure that our pay and benefit plans remain competitive, the city issued an RFP for a new pay and classification study. We sent it to 14 companies, received 7 responses. A committee consisting of myself, the deputy city manager, the CFO, and the director of public works reviewed these and rated them based on experience, methodology, qualifications, requirement, and cost. So I'm here today recommending that City Council award the contract to Evergreen Solutions, the highest rated firm. They have been in business since 2004. They've completed over 1,400 similar studies, including over 200 in Florida. They also did our study for us in 2019. Our experience with them gives us confidence in using them again. And I am here for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. We'll get a motion on item 1.
I move we award RFP number 02-2425 Pay and Classification Study to Evergreen Solutions LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Golding.
Thank you. Ms. Bennett, I had asked you, so I had talked with you prior to the meeting about what we paid Evergreen when they did the pay classification study previously. This is $5,000 more than what we paid them previously. Do you know why? I mean, other than, that everything has gone up. I mean, is there any particular reason that it is $5,000 more?
I would say is just inflation. They're going to be doing a similar study. They did less last time. This time so it might actually go down some. We're not going to have them perform the job descriptions. Last time they actually wrote the job descriptions for us. This time they're not going to do that, but it was included in the amount.
So it could potentially be less than what they proposed in their response to the RFP. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Horn?
But did we not just say that we are going to award them with that payment? I'm sorry, I got to go back to it. Okay, sorry, I missed it. I just started thinking about something else. I was going to actually ask the same thing. Thank you, Councilwoman Golding. Although, if you really want to nerd out, I just went and got on the rabbit trail here on page 89 of 89 on their submittal. I just happened to find the word fringe benefits. Our price is all inclusive, includes travel costs, meals, lodging, transportation, fringe benefits, indirect cost, overhead, et cetera, et cetera. I just thought that was, when you can sit there and read 90 pages, you might as well stare at the little stuff. That's all I had to say. I just found some funny stuff in there.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Any other questions, comments from council? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item 2.
I move we authorize the mayor and city manager to execute any contract as a result of this RFP award.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. All right, moving on to resolutions. We have a couple options here. We're going to start off with an update from our city manager, Mr. Stefopoulos.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is a continuation of the discussion that we had at briefing last week on the 31st, talking about establishing an official name and logo for the station. For those that might be watching at home, just to give a little bit more background to this, when the station transitioned from ownership of the American Red Cross to the ownership of the city of Jacksonville Beach, the American Red Cross put some very specific provisions in place. One of them was that their name, the American Red Cross, and their actual emblem, which was the red cross at the top of the peg, could not remain on the building. Those are considered copyright trademark. I'm not an attorney. David would know the difference between the two. But they indicated that neither of those could remain on the building going forward. More specifically, they indicated that anything that involved a red cross would also be viewed as an infringement on their copyright. Or trademark, whichever. So we needed to come up with a with a logo for the building that was different, more specifically at the top of the peg so people would know it was a life safety facility. A previous briefing that had been held with council, we talked about doing an inverted cross, red background with a white cross. That was ultimately put in front of the American Red Cross and received their blessing. They said as long as it is inverted and contains text, that would be considered acceptable and not infringe upon their brand of the Red Cross. So with that being said, we're now at the point where we need to actually call the station something very similar to what you did with Fountain View Park last year, or 2 years ago, where you renamed that to be called Fountain View Park going forward. So when we discussed this with the council on the 31st, you gravitated towards a very specific design that would go at the top of the peg, and that was the red background with the inverted white cross. And we've got the image to show you here. So the options between the two are really to decide what you will call the station, whether it will be the Jacksonville Beach Life Saving Station or the Jacksonville Beach Lifeguard Station. And the two resolutions that you have in front of you, or I should say the two motions with the same resolution number, really just denote what name you will go with moving forward. We are aware that at the end of last week, there were requests from the Volunteer Life Saving Corps to see if there was a way to put their information up on the building as well. In anticipation that council might want to see something more than just the inverted cross at this point in time, we also reached out to Harbinger at the end of last week and asked them to update their quote to include what it would look like to put both the VLSC logo and the JBOR logo on the east side of the peg. Not to say that that's where they would need to go, but if we wanted to put those two logos on the building, we now have a price to do that as well. All of this would still fall under administrative authorization of the $25,000, which means if you gave us some direction tonight on what you'd like to see for actual markings on the building, other than the inverted cross at the top of the peg on the three sides, we could likely make that happen post haste. If it is something that we needed to bring back to council, we would not be ready for opening of the beaches, but again, we'd want to make sure we get it right. So with that, we also have our communications manager, Jacob Board, here, who's been working with Harbinger, and we have our deputy city manager, Karen Nelson, who's also been involved in the process, if you have any questions at this point in time.
Thank you. I also want to recognize the members of the VLSC board and leadership who are here today as well and have vested interest in this issue. So we've been given two motions to consider. I've been advised by our city attorney that we've been reading our resolutions by title and we don't actually have to do that. So that'll save us a little bit of fumbling around at this point. So I'll ask for a motion, whoever wants to go first to make the motion. If it gets a second, we'll have discussion. If it doesn't get a second, I'll ask for another motion and we'll keep going until we get a vote.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2189-2025, establishing the official name and logo for the Jacksonville Beach Life Saving Station.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the name of Jacksonville Beach Life Saving Station. Any discussion? Ms. Golding.
I would just say that really isn't my first choice, but I'm not, if this is what the majority of the council wants, that's totally fine. I just wanted to mention that, I just feel like the building has been referenced as the lifeguard station for many, many years. I see it on the news referenced as the lifeguard station. The Atlantic Beach Lifeguard Station is called the Atlantic Beach Lifeguard Station. In my communications with some of the VLSC members, they've been calling it the lifeguard station. So to me, it just seems that the lifeguard station is what everyone calls it. I would support calling it Jacksonville Beach Lifeguard Station. So I personally would not support Life Saving Station, and that's my reasoning, and I just wanted to share that with everyone so that you would know why.
Mr. Sutton?
Thank you, Mayor. Just more of a procedural question for the city attorney. If I would like to offer amendment to the resolution, would this be the appropriate time, or would you suggest after we have heard from public, or?
Either time is legally permissible, so however you want to proceed.
Okay. And just to follow up on Councilwoman Golding's comments, I think in informality, people do refer to the station as the lifeguard station. I would contend that I think the historical name has been Life Saving in the past, I believe, and it's a little more representative of exactly what goes on, with both VLSC and JBOR out of that facility. So I support Life Saving. I'd like to make a amended motion on the resolution, and I guess this would apply to either one. Specifically under Section 2, naming of the Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue Building and adoption of the logo. The City Council hereby formally designates the Ocean Rescue Building located at 2 Oceanfront North as the Jacksonville Beach Life Saving Station and adopts the official temporary logo attached hereto as Attachment A. The only change there is to insert the word temporary. Second paragraph, branding of 2 Oceanfront North shall be considered temporary until such time as structural modifications and repairs of 2 Oceanfront North have been completed, at which time a complete repainting and more permanent branding will be evaluated and accomplished. Paragraph 3, temporary branding shall include the placement of the temporary life-saving station logo on the top 3, that being north, east, and south PEG window facades, previously windows way back in the day, but they're covered now. Placement of the wording, home of the Volunteer Life-Saving Corps, across the south side of the building, and placement of the JBOR logo on one of either the east or the west side of the building. And I would envision that would be between the first and second floor along the white areas that exist there. And then finally, all temporary lettering and logos shall be of same color.
Second.
We have a motion to amend, and I'm not going to repeat that, but if anyone needs Mr. Sutton to answer any details on his amendment, we can do that. So we have a motion and a second. Flip your lights off unless you have a comment on this amendment. Mr. Wouters.
Yes, Councilman Sutton, would you please consider adding the words since 1912? Thank you.
I'd argue it has not been that building since 1912. This is the third, isn't this the third
The
building?
building's certainly been redone since that.
So, yeah. So I think it was the American Red Cross Volunteer Life Saving Corps prior, it being just the Volunteer Life Saving Corps, but
Sure.
maybe that would possibly be something for the next, like the big reiteration, the final branding. I mean, I think I can see that coming down. I don't have a problem with it right now. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Mr. Jansen?
Yeah, so 2 things on this motion in of itself. There was communications with some of the board and staff of the VLSC who agreed that they would be willing to fund some portion thereof of their logo. And then the second thing that I'd like to see also on that motion is that the logo, whatever logo is going to be used, that it's agreed upon mutually between the city and the VLSC, so that it's consistent and that there's not an issue that, well, you didn't say it couldn't be a mural, so we paint a mural, so. Those are the 2 things that I'm concerned about.
Can you clarify, Mr. Jansen, your second concern? Or
The second concern is that the logo is agreed upon mutually between the VLSC and the city.
are you talking about the logo, this logo that's been presented to us?
No, the VLSC that you read in the motion.
Yeah, I didn't specifically talk about a logo for the Volunteer Life Saving Corps. It was just verbiage on the south side.
Well, okay, I stand by that whatever verbiage is used, that it's mutually agreed upon by the VLSC and the city.
Ms. Golding?
Mr. Sutton, could you, for the benefit of everyone, go back through, and it doesn't have to be in the form of a motion, but just explain in plain terms the main things that your motion is proposing to do. Just so that, because I want to make sure I'm very clear, I understand.
My first point in referring to this logo that we're looking at as a temporary logo was that to reinforce what we discussed at the briefing, which was that once the structural repairs and modifications had been done to the station, that we would then essentially whitewash the station and decide on exactly what makes sense and how do we want the station to look. So I therefore want to refer to this. It's not to say that this logo would not be used, but I would like to, at least at this point in this resolution, refer to this as a temporary logo. The second paragraph just sort of pointed that out, that everything that we do at this point would be considered temporary until such time as the modifications and updates had been completed. And then at that point, whatever the permanent branding is going to be, which this is just me talking out loud, but I would anticipate would include possibly this logo, certainly the JBOR and BLSC logos. We will decide at that point, whenever that is, hopefully sooner than later, but we all know how things go and it could take quite some time. And then it's basically saying that this logo that we're looking at today would be placed as was presented to us on the peg on the north, east, and south sides. In addition to that, on the south white border between the first and second floors, the wording "Home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps" would be placed. And then at their option, the city's option or their option, the JBOR logo would also be placed on either the west or the east side on that similar white band that wraps the station between the first and second floor. And then finally, that all such logos and painting or whatever the material is going to be made of will be of the same color, in hopes that that would help reduce costs, at least for this temporary branding.
Okay, so thank you. I really appreciate that, because I was trying to keep up with your motion earlier and kind of lost a few things. So I appreciate the clarification. Is there any reason why you're not proposing that it say the home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps and Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue? Because both of those entities are operating out of that building.
Not particularly, other than that it is the historical home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps. But in an effort to also recognize JBOR, certainly want to include their logo on whichever side they would like for it to be included on.
I would like to amend the motion to amend that we add the home. Am I able to do that, Mr. City Attorney?
Not at this point, but perhaps.
Okay. Maybe I could include another motion. Okay. Thank you.
That's no fun. All right. I think Mr. Wagner was next.
Thank you. A couple of quick points, and I won't belabor it too much. I do support the proposed amendment. Many similar ideas. I think we could make that work with, if there's a few tweaks here or there, that's fine. I totally get that. I did want to kind of circle back to Councilor Jansen's comments around making sure it was mutually agreeable. I can't get anything from any of my graphic artists that I don't sign off on, and they work for me. So I do want to make sure that there's a formal signature process that everybody says, before we go ahead and paint this on the building, you guys are like, I'm good with it. So I really would hope that that does occur as a matter of process. And then last, I don't really think, and I listened to some of the discussion around the Volunteer Lifeguard Corps and their offer to help with the funds. I don't think I'm really in support of that, mostly because so many of them live here at the beach. And it's a service being provided to the residents of the beach. And I feel that, and you guys do many good things with your resources. And I really think that this is probably something that the city should evolve and take care of. So I would like to advance the concept that this is a city responsibility and liability. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Jansen.
I guess my question is similar to Ms. Golding's. Is if I were to make a motion about the mutually agreed upon verbiage and the expense of the VLSC, would that come on the original motion or would that come now?
If I may,
Or is
Right.
that an administrative?
right now, what is on, let me go to procedure first, and that question first, and then if you have other questions, I'd be happy to address them. This is getting expansive, and I want to make sure I have it under control. So right now, what is on the table before you is a motion to amend that has been moved and seconded. You all could either choose to approve that or deny that by your vote. If it's approved, that means we just now have the motion as amended before you, and at that time, it would be proper if anyone wanted to propose any other amendments to make those amendments now. You just can't amend a pending motion to amend. If this motion to amend passes, then that's where we're at. We still haven't had a final vote, and more amendments will be in order then.
Okay.
I hope that's somewhat coherent.
Yep, that helps a lot. So I have one other comment. It's so at the expense of the VLSC, though I am the one asking for it, this wasn't brought up by me. This was brought up by the VLSC. They're the ones who suggested it and offered it. And so if they really didn't want it, then, I wouldn't be opposed to the city paying for it. But it was a suggestion that came from their staff.
Thank you, Mr. Jansen. Are you finished? Ms. Golding, did you have a revisit? Let me go to Mr. Wouters first real quick. Okay, Mr. Wouters?
Thank you, Mayor. One thing that I haven't heard mentioned, and I appreciate all the thoughtful comments of my colleagues, is that we all know we're really talking about life-saving here. And having this emblem and this verbiage will help them to recruit more people who will be available to save lives for free. In addition to all the other beautiful benefits it instills in our young people, service to something bigger than themselves and so on. So I think it's vitally important that we see this through and make it happen. Thank you.
Ms. Golding?
Thank you. I apologize, but I just wanted to say that in follow-up to the discussion about the language in the amendment that says home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps, I feel that this is a sensitive situation because we have Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue lifeguards that are working in that building on a daily basis. And if they go into this building that says home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps, but it does not say and Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue, I think that's doing a disservice to them and the hard work that they're providing every single day. So I just want to say I will have heartburn in approving the amendment without the Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue being included in it. So and here's the thing, if we have to vote on your amendment and then the next step is I make an amendment, there's no guarantees that it will be added. So at this point, I can't support the amendment because I would like to see Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue recognized in that language as well.
Speaking of Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue, I'd like to recognize Captain Rob Emheiser, who's here. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you earlier. I didn't see you. Your shirt's not bright enough. Just kidding. All right, Mr. Horn.
I guess I'll touch on a couple of things here. My support, and there's a few things. We'll go back to the beginning with the life-saving station. That building has had the words American Red Cross on it for the last 50 years. And nobody called it they called it Jax Beach Lifeguard Station. but it had the words American Red Cross Volunteer Life Saving Corps in 2-foot high letters on all sides, or I think on 3 sides. So the words life saving station to me kind of, give something back to the community. I think that Councilor Sutton's effort to put the JBOR logo on there is great. I want to support JBOR, but I also want the community that fought so hard to keep that building, that fought so hard to support their sons, their daughters, their family members, their husbands and wives that went down there and still do work down there, because there was a volunteer life-saving corps before there was a Jacksonville Beach. That group has been down there since 1912. Started in 1912, and now it's 2025. This, I think, is the real importance of not only that building, but the legacy and the 113 years of service that group has and continues to provide. So again, I support putting the words Home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps on there. And the big thing is that this is all only temporary. But at the same time, I think one of the things that's been causing me heartbreak, and we've told Mike, you've heard it, we thought it was going to be 3 to 6 months and we were going to have something on there. And it's been this big white building. If I'm a family member and I'm on the beach, or if I'm walking down and I don't want to look and see just a blank wall, for the same reason we're covering up the dumpsters. People don't want to see a blank wall. People need to be able to see and recognize that building. And then I think putting the Volunteer Life Saving Corps logo, name, I wish it had been on there as soon as we started working again with the Volunteer Life Saving Corps and recognizing the effort and the support that they've done for our community for the last 113 years. That is, I think, what that's how I feel. And I think that's a lot in our community that still feel that way, that still support the Volunteer Life Saving Corps, and they're still providing a good service. And honestly, even though we had a problem this weekend on the beach, we could have had much more had we not had volunteer lifeguards on the beach. Okay, I want to support any organization that wants to, number one, serve the citizens of Jacksonville Beach, and number two, make our beach safer. So I support the Volunteer Life Saving Corps, and I support the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Mr. Jansen, and we're still commenting specifically on Mr. Sutton's amendment.
Yes. So, Councilman Sutton, you're saying on the west or east side, the JBOR logo, and that's what you keep saying, or are we talking about verbiage on that as well?
My language said the JBOR logo.
I was just thinking outside the box. If we have home of the Volunteer Life Saving Corps on one side, could we have home of the Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue on the other side? It's both their homes.
Mr. Attorney, wouldn't that be a
Are you finished with your comment, Mr. Jansen? Ms. Golding?
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for the additional revisit, but I just want to be very clear. Please don't doubt my appreciation for the history and all the work that the Volunteer Life Saving Corps has done for 113 years. I'm not trying to diminish that at all with my comments. I'm just trying to acknowledge the fact that we do have Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue lifeguards that are in that building several days a week, if not 7 days a week. I don't know, maybe Rob, you can correct me. Yes, and so I just want to reiterate, I feel we're doing a disservice to them if we don't include them, as Mr. Jansen said, in saying that this is their home too, and it has been their home for quite a few years. I want to say at least 50, if not maybe more. So I just wanted to clarify that. So
And I did not feel that you felt that way, but I also recognize that the Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue was not left out of this. If Councilor Sutton's motion was just put home the VLSC on there, I don't think it would have gone anywhere. But, putting both of the logos up there, and recognizing both organizations. But
Mr. Wagner?
So I'm gonna try to help a little bit. So as I was watching, heads nodding at the recommendation of saying home of the volunteer lifeguards on one side and Jay Bar on the other, it sounded like, or looked like, just by watching folks in the audience and with vested interest, there was some support there, and up on the dais did as well. It's my understanding that if we agree to that,
I can amend my motion
yeah,
still.
your emotion's not formalized. It won't be formalized until the team formalizes it, right? So changing those words.
The city attorney will confirm that I can still amend my motion before we vote on it.
Right. That's my point. I just want to make sure everybody's aware.
Mr. Maggette?
So perhaps the easiest way to keep things clear is to, y'all can ignore my advice if you want, but vote on this motion to amend that's pending. If that's approved, the item is still before you, and then another amendment could be made. I think that's just probably, for the record, that's a clear way of doing it. You feel free to ignore that if you want, but I think that's the most concise way.
I only disagree because it's my motion on the floor, and I think I'm entitled to amend my motion before a vote's taken.
If you want to proceed that way, I think that's in order.
It's what?
In order.
I'm going to amend my motion. The third paragraph will read, temporary branding shall include the placement of the temporary life-saving station logo on the top 3 north, east, and south peg window facades, placement of the wording home of the Volunteer Life-Saving Corps across the south side of the building, and placement of the wording home of Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue on the west side of the building.
Second.
We're going to give the city attorney a second
And
to.
we'll just deal with logos when we do permanent branding.
If I may, so yes, I don't have all 500 pages of Robert's rules memorized, unfortunately, but I wanted to, so I didn't have that memorized, so I wanted to go the safer route. But your motion is permitted. It's been seconded. So we now have a new motion to amend on the table. Is everyone on the same page? Does anyone need any clarification?
So it still just counts as one motion to amend.
Yes, one vote, and then if it's approved, then the board can vote to approve it if they want.
All right. It was a lot easier just to amend the amendments before you came along. Okay, and now we know it was out of order. Mr. Wagner, do you have a comment on the amendment?
No, I was.
Okay, so we have an edited amendment on the table. Any other discussion on the amendment, Ms. Golding?
I just want to thank you, Mr. Sutton, for amending your motion. And I was going to suggest the other option would have been you could have withdrawn your motion and then made a whole new motion. That would have been proper procedure too, I think.
I mean, the game starts at 8:50. We don't have that kind of time at this point.
I think we're good.
So it's slightly modified, but Mr. Wouters, do you have a comment on the amendment as proposed?
Yes, I'm sorry. I would ask the Honorable Councilman Sutton, Mr. Sutton, to please consider adding the words since 1912.
Mr. City Manager.
Just a question for clarification. First motion said either west or east for Jay Bohr. New motion is just west?
Correct.
Okay. We have no more lights on the board. We are going to vote on Mr. Sutton's amendment. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Sutton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner.
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes. Mr. City Attorney has turned on his light.
So now the original motion has been amended. Now an amended motion is before you all for formal approval.
I know that part. I got that. Just teasing. Okay, so we're back to discussing the original motion as amended. Mr. Jansen.
Okay, I think this is the perfect time to make a motion on the original that the verbiage be agreed upon by both the city and the VLSC as far as how it's going to look and the branding, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And do I do one at a time, or I'll do them both? And that the portion belonging to the VLSC is paid at their expense.
We have a motion to amend. Is there a second? Seeing no second, the amendment fails. Any other comments on the original motion as amended? Mr. Jansen, your light's still on? Okay. Before we vote on this, I do want to say that why it may seem a little tense and some of the procedural things here, please know it's because we all care very much about this. And I know that you all do too. And I want to say as well that after a really tough couple of years, I feel very good that we're able to have this kind of dialogue and that we're taking maybe small, maybe slow steps forward, but we're heading in the right direction in our relationship between JBOR, the city, the VLSC. So I'm glad we're at this point. It did take too long, but I hope that some of the formalization of communications and that relationship have benefited along the way through some of these procedural things. So, Mr. Sutton?
I'm not sure exactly what the concern was with Mr. Jansen's amendment. I'll offer an amendment that the placement of all logos or lettering be approved by both the Volunteer Life Saving Corps and the city.
Second.
There's a motion to amend, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Stefopoulos?
Question on the motion. When you say approved by the city or amenable to the city, legislatively or administratively?
I believe administratively.
And it's mutually agreed upon.
I have a question
I
for your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that Mr. Emery and I would be able to sit down and say, yep, this looks good, and we're able to move forward.
That was my intent.
Any other discussion on the proposed amendment? Madam Clerk, roll call. This is just on the amendment by Mr. Sutton.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Back to the original motion that has been twice amended. Any other comments or discussion? Mr. Jansen?
Yeah, I just want to kind of reiterate what was discussed at the briefing last week. I did make the comments that everyone calls it the lifeguard station. And if I were to go knock on doors campaigning, every door that I knocked on and I asked them, what's that big white building at the end of Beach Boulevard in front of the ocean? They'd probably say, that's the lifeguard station. I made those comments at the briefing. I also went back and I looked at some old photos dating back into the 50s and maybe even earlier beyond that. And I did see where the verbiage across the building was the life-saving station. So that did exist back in time as well. I think everybody's still going to call it what they believe to call it, and that's fine with me. So, but I did want to put that out there because I did make those comments during the briefing, and I stand behind them.
Any other comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
No.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. That is the last item of business. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have
All
all
in-
second.
Mr. Horn?
I was just going to mention that I learned the basic tenets of Robert's rules at age 15 in that building with the lifeguard station because this is how
Life-saving
this is how-
station.
Sorry,
Point of order.
life-saving station. Sorry, life-saving station because this is how they run their meeting.
All in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Go Raiders.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.